In the middle of a busy city, where noise never truly rests, there is a house that most people walk past without a second glance. It is not tall. It is not decorated. It does not demand attention. But those who have entered that house will tell you something quietly, almost like a secret. They say that no one who walks through that door ever leaves the same way they came in. A man lives there. No one knows where he studied. No one knows exactly how old he is. He does not promote himself. He does not chase followers or crowds. But somehow, people who are carrying the heaviest questions always find their way to his door. They call him the Master of Life. And today he has something to share with you. One quiet afternoon, a young man came to see him. He sat down slowly, his hands folded tightly in his lap, and took a long breath before he spoke. "Master," he began, his voice quiet but heavy, "I want to start my own business. I have the idea. I have the plan. I even have some of the money saved. But every time I am about to begin, I stop myself." He looked down at his hands. "I see other people starting businesses and failing. I see them lose everything. I see them work for years and still end up back where they started, sometimes worse. And I think to myself, what if that happens to me? What if I give everything I have and it does not work?" He paused, his jaw tight. "I am not afraid of hard work, Master. I am afraid of wasting my life on something that was never going to succeed in the first place. I am afraid of looking back one day and realizing I threw away years chasing something that was always going to fail." The Master of Life sat across from him, quiet and still, his dark framed glasses resting calmly on his face. He did not speak right away. He simply listened, the way a man does when he knows the question is not finished yet. The young man continued, his voice shakier now. "And the worst part is, I see good people, Master. People who work harder than anyone I know. People who are honest and kind and smart. And they still fail. They still lose everything. So I keep asking myself, if good people can give their all and still end up with nothing, then what is the point of trying? Why should I risk everything when the world does not care how hard I work or how good my intentions are?" He finally looked up at the Master, his eyes tired and searching. "Why do good people suffer, Master? And if they do, why should I even start?" The Master of Life stood slowly from his chair. He did not say a word. He walked to a small wooden shelf near the window and returned holding something in his hand. A seed, small, dry, unremarkable. He placed it gently on the table between them. "Do you know what this is?" the Master asked quietly. The young man looked at it and nodded. "It is a seed." "Yes," the Master said. "And what does a seed do?" The young man hesitated. "It grows, if you plant it." The Master nodded slowly. "And what happens to the seed when you plant it in the ground?" The young man thought for a moment. "It breaks open, dies in a way, and then something new comes from it." The Master sat back down, his hands resting calmly on his knees. "Before this seed becomes a tree," he said, "it must first be buried in the dark. It must be covered in soil where no one can see it. It must sit in that darkness for days, sometimes weeks, with no sign that anything is happening at all." He leaned forward slightly, the way he does when the lesson is about to land. "And while it is buried, the seed does not know if it will grow. It does not know if the soil is good enough. It does not know if there will be enough water or sunlight. It does not even know if it will survive." The young man listened, his eyes fixed on the seed. "But the seed does not ask those questions," the Master continued. "It does not wonder if it is worth the risk. It does not look at other seeds that did not grow and decide to stay closed. It simply does what it was made to do. It breaks open. It reaches into the soil. It pushes toward the light. The master picked up the seed and held it between his fingers. You ask me why good people suffer. I will tell you the truth. Good people suffer because growth requires breaking. There is no tree that did not first split apart as a seed. There is no fruit that did not come from something that was willing to be buried and broken open. He placed the seed back down gently. Suffering is not a punishment for good people. It is the process by which good people become great people. The soil does not care how kind the seed is. The rain does not fall only on the deserving. But the seed that is willing to break open in the dark is the only one that will ever see the light. The young man sat very still, his breathing slower now. The master leaned back in his chair and spoke again, this time even more gently. You say you are afraid of wasting your life, but let me ask you this. What is more wasted? The seed that breaks open in the soil and does not grow, or the seed that never leaves the safety of the bag? The young man said nothing, but his eyes answered. You will not know if your business will succeed, the master said. No one does, but I can promise you this. If you do not plant yourself in the soil, you will never become the tree you were meant to be. You will remain a seed, safe, unbroken, and completely unused. He folded his hands calmly. The world does not owe you success, but it will give you something far more valuable if you try. It will give you the chance to grow. And growth, my son, is the only thing in this life that suffering cannot take from you. The young man exhaled, long and slow, the way you do when a weight you did not know you were carrying finally begins to lift. He reached forward and picked up the seed from the table. He held it in his palm for a long moment, staring at it quietly. Then he stood. He did not ask for more. He did not need to. He simply nodded, placed the seed carefully in his pocket, and walked toward the door. When he stepped back into the city, the noise was the same. The streets were the same. The world had not changed at all. But he had, because now he understood something he had never been told before. Suffering does not mean you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it means you are doing something right. And the only way to know if the seed will grow is to be willing to break open in the dark. The master of life returned to his chair. The city carried on outside. The house stayed quiet and unnoticed. And the lesson remained, as it always does, waiting for the next person who was ready to hear it. If that story stayed with you even a little, then it found the person it was meant for. Come back for the next one. The master of life will be here.